What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be duping some more new makeup releases, and I started this series here on my channel not only because I love finding dupes and saving you guys money, but also when it comes to new releases, there's always so much hype surrounding them usually, and it's really hard not to just buy stuff because it looks beautiful and interesting, and then you get it home and find out that it's already really similar to something you might have already had in your collection, or even something from the drugstore. These days, there really isn't a huge difference between high-end makeup and drugstore makeup, at least in my opinion and in my experience. So I love doing these videos, and hopefully they're helpful and save you guys a bit of money. So I also will put a playlist of these videos down below in case you want to check out more in this series. So let's go ahead and start. And the first product that I have is this new Too Faced Better Than Chocolate palette. So Too Faced has kind of just kept continuing this chocolate theme since their original chocolate bar, which is many years old now at this point. This one is $54 for 18 shades. It has both matte and shimmer finishes in it. It's mostly a neutral color story, but it does have a pop of purple and blue and olive green and gold, but it kind of makes sense that it's mostly browns because it is a chocolate themed palette overall. And the formula was okay. Some of the shades had great payoff, others didn't pick up very well and swatched really sheer or patchy. And it's kind of a shame because Too Faced used to have one of my all-time favorite formulas. When I think back to the original chocolate bar or the gingerbread spice palette, those were amazing, and I always looked forward to the new releases. In my opinion, they've definitely gone downhill in the past couple of years. I know that Estee Lauder acquired them back in 2017, and I feel like it was sometime after that I just started to have issues with their formula when I never did in the past. Every time one of these palettes comes out, I keep hoping that it's gonna wow me, but for me now, these palettes that come in the tin packaging, they used to be the absolute best. Now they remind me kind of their holiday releases that used to come out that were like lesser quality. So I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you feel like Too Faced is the same as it used to be, or is it totally different? So before we get into the actual dupe that I found for this palette, I just want to quickly show you this next to some of the other Too Faced palettes because I keep hearing people saying this looks the same as every other palette they've ever had. So let's just look at those really quickly, and then I'll show you the dupe that I found for this palette. So first up, let's look at it next to the original chocolate bar palette. I think the original is much more neutral to cool, while the new one is a lot warmer overall. Next, we have chocolate gold. This one is a little bit more colorful, plus it's almost entirely shimmer shades except for just 4 basic mattes. So I don't really see a lot of similarity between these two either. Next up is gingerbread spice. These seem to have some of the neutral shades in common, but the pops of color are, I would say, mostly different. There's a lot of rosy tones in the gingerbread palette. Gingerbread extra spicy, I feel like, is even more warm and orangey and doesn't really stray from neutrals except for that one deep blue shimmer in the bottom corner. Pumpkin spice is a lot different and more colorful with pinks, purples, and greens mixed with a few neutrals. Then we have cinnamon swirl from last fall, and I think this one's probably the closest. It has the warm neutrals and a pop of purple. It's not exact, but I would say that it's fairly similar. So is it necessary to really spend $54 on this palette? I'm gonna say no. I have a $13 option that is even better, and that is the Profusion Paradise palette. You get even more shades in here. It has 35 colors altogether for $13, and it includes the same warm neutrals, the purple, blue, olive green, and gold shades, plus it has even more. So I think this is a very versatile palette with a gorgeous formula. So swatched out next to each other, I think the Profusion shades actually swatch so much smoother, particularly the shimmer shades. I don't struggle to apply these at all, especially when it comes to like the lavender shimmer that's in this Too Faced palette. This thing does not pick up. I can dig my finger in here so hard and nothing comes up at all. But the Profusion one, the lavender shade in this, swatches so beautifully. It picks up so easily on your finger, and I feel like the shimmer shades are just that perfect, rich, buttery texture. They're amazing. I actually applied the Too Faced palette to this eye today and the Profusion to this one, so they don't look look exactly the same because the shade that I use, the shimmer shade, is just slightly different. And the Profusion applied just as well as the Too Faced, if not better. So unless you're a huge fan of shadows that smell like chocolate or you really want that experience, just grab this one. You'll get the exact same shades for a lot less money. Next up, I got the new Fantasize mascara from One Size. I got the little mini version for $13, but the bigger one is I think $25. The reviews on this have been very positive. It's supposed to be a lifting and lengthening formula that's not supposed to smudge or flake for 24 hours. Granted, I don't normally wear mascara for that long, but here's the brush, and it's a rubbery style brush with the short spiky bristles. It actually reminds me so much of the Maybelline Sky High mascara though. The brushes look almost identical, so I wanted to put these two to the test because I feel like the Maybelline is also really lifting and lengthening, plus it's super long lasting and doesn't smudge on me either. The biggest difference between the brushes is that the Maybelline one is a little bit skinnier, but I actually again prefer that because I have hooded eyes and a bigger brush tends to get all over my eyelids if I'm not really careful, so I like a skinnier brush better. But even though it's a skinnier brush, I feel like the style of the brush is the same and the formulas are also both the same kind of wet formula. Let me show you guys me putting on the Fantasize mascara first. I feel like it does a really great job at lengthening more than anything, and also it does thicken up my lashes, so it just gives a really nice false lash effect. And because it's a wetter formula, it builds up really fast. I don't feel like I have to spend a lot of time doing multiple coats. It does have a tendency to kind of clump up though, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. And then the Sky High mascara is the exact same way. I get so much length with this one and a little bit of volume too, but it really just gives me huge lashes with nice curl. And I think the Maybelline one, even though it's a wetter formula as well, it doesn't tend to clump on me as much as the Fantasize one. So I feel like that's a plus for the Maybelline. And looking at my two eyes side by side, I actually think the Maybelline one gave me bigger lashes than the One Size did. I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, it's pretty close. I think they give a very similar look, but I think I do see more length on the Maybelline side. And like I said, I can wear both of these all day without smudging or flaking. So they're really great long-lasting formulas as well. Next up, I was also so excited to see this new Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow foundation. This retails for $58 and comes in 32 shades on the Sephora website. I got the shade 4.5, which is described as light with a cool undertone. And yeah, it's not at all. It's really yellow actually, and I didn't see any of that pinkish tone that cool foundations normally have. It does have a really creamy consistency though, and it's very lightweight, which is nice. And it claims to be a weightless foundation with medium coverage and light diffusing pigments. It also is supposed to have blurring spheres and last for up to 16 hours on your skin. But the texture and the coverage of this reminds me so much of the Ulta Complexion Crush foundation. This has actually been a favorite of mine for a while now. It has the exact same really creamy feel, medium coverage, and the same natural skin effect with a weightless finish. I have this one in the shade Light Cool. And while I wouldn't say that this one is necessarily cool toned either, it looks a lot cooler and less yellow next to the Hourglass one. So let me show you these both put to the test. So first I'm applying the Hourglass one and I'm using my BK Beauty 101 brush. It's funny because I expected this to have more of a glow to it since it's part of the ambient line, but it actually dries down kind of matte. It doesn't look super drying on my skin, but it did settle a little bit into my pore areas, and I feel like just a light layer is perfect. If you do any more than that, or if you start to build it up, at least on my drier, more mature skin, I felt like it started to get cakey or border on looking cakey and too makeupy and heavy. So for this one, I would definitely just work in a light layer. I don't feel like it really covered up my dark spots. It did even out redness, but I can still see a lot of my dark spots on my cheeks poking through. And then on the other side, I'm going to put the Ulta Complexion Crush foundation. This one I love. It has that same creamy feel. It's weightless, but at the same time, It has amazing coverage. I think this one actually might have better coverage than the Hourglass one. I chose this as a dupe just because it has such a similar feel and it really has the same sort of natural skin-like finish. It's not glowy, it's not like a flat matte, it's sort of a satiny finish. And I think that's sort of what the Hourglass one has too, but that one is maybe just slightly more matte. It's like a soft matte, whereas the Ulta is definitely closer to a satiny finish, which again, I prefer on my dry skin. So here, let's look at the two side by side. I think absolutely the Ulta one has better coverage, and I like the little hint of glow that it gives to my skin versus the Hourglass side. I just think looks a little tiny bit drier. I don't know, you'll have to tell me what you guys think, but I actually prefer the side with the Ulta foundation. Not that the Hourglass one is bad by any means, but I would much rather spend $14 on a foundation than $58, even though this one does come in a beautiful glass bottle. I think between the color and just that little bit more of a glow that this one gives my dry skin, I think that this one has it beat. But other than that, I do think these are very, very close. Next up, I was so excited to try the new Givenchy Prism Libre Loose Highlighter. So on the Sephora website, it actually calls it a blush loose highlighter, and it shows the model in the pictures wearing this as sort of a blush, but in my experience, I mean, I have pretty light skin tone and this is way too light to even ever be a blush. It really doesn't add that much color at all. It's a highlighter. It's $43 and it only comes in this one color, at least on the Sephora website. It's number 11, powdery pink. The packaging, of course, is stunning. I mean, it's really, really beautiful. The sifter is actually the logo with the 4 G's, and it has 2 different colored powders in it from what I can tell. There's 2 on each side, a really, really pale pink and then one that's slightly deeper. But as you guys can see, when I swatched this out, like there's really not a lot of color there. It's mostly sparkle and definitely just a very pale pink highlight. So I think the website is a little bit misleading, and I did see some reviews after the fact, after I bought it, that said that people were kind of disappointed that it wasn't a blush. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that it is not a blush for sure. But I did have something that is super similar, and this is actually a product I don't really hear anybody talking about. It's the Coty Airspun Loose Face Highlighter, and I have mine in the shade pink. So I hear everybody talking about the Coty Airspun powder, but they actually do have these highlighters. I can't remember if I got this on Amazon or Walmart, but I'll link it wherever I got it down below. And this is the shade 200 Pink Me Up. Obviously the packaging is not nearly as luxurious or beautiful, but you get a ton of product in here. The Givenchy has 6 grams and this one is 8.8 grams. So you're getting quite a bit more for a lot less money. And truthfully, I think this one shows up even better on your skin, and it has like a little bit of a shift to it. It's really beautiful. I was stunned when I looked at the difference between them. I don't think there's any comparison. The Airspun one just shows up so much better. I still don't think you can use it as a blush. It's way too light for that, but I'll show you guys me applying each side. So first on this side, we have the Givenchy powder, and it does give a really beautiful effect, especially if you like more of a subtle highlight. I don't think that this is one of those highlighters that like you can see from outer space. It is very subtle, but I actually really like that a lot. And then on the other side, we have the Coty highlighter. And this one I think gives the same effect. It might just show up a little bit more. It's easier to use. You don't have to use as much of it. I felt like I was layering the Givenchy one a little bit more, and the Coty one was just a little bit more effortless because it just kind of pops right away. So here they are side by side, and you guys can tell the difference. I'd love to hear what you think down below. Which side do you like better? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then the fifth and final product is this new lip gloss from Clinique. This is their Pop Plush Creamy Lip Gloss. It retails for $20 and I have mine in the shade Sugar Plum number 9. This claims to be an ultra cushiony, super buttery gloss that hugs the lips with plush shine and all-day hydration. And one of the main ingredients is hyaluronic acid to help lock in moisture and give your lips like that plumped up look with hydration. And the one thing that did kind of surprise me about this is they call it a creamy lip gloss, gloss, so that's sort of what I was expecting. It's actually very, very sticky. It's one of the more sticky lip glosses that I've ever tried. When you like press your lips together, they almost get stuck there. So personally, I wouldn't call it a creamy lip gloss as much as it is just very sticky. The one good thing about sticky formulas is that they last a long time, but then on the downside, like my hair's always getting caught in it. I actually prefer more of a creamier, smoother formula, and that's where I would just go with the Lifter Gloss from Maybelline as a dupe for this one. It's not as sticky, and it also contains the hyaluronic acid as the main ingredient to smooth out your lips. I'll show you guys me applying the Clinique in Sugar Plum and the Lifter Gloss in the shade Silk. They're not the exact same shade, but I feel like they're pretty close. And the Maybelline one just, to me, feels more comfortable on my lips, but it gives that same plumped up smoothing effect that the Clinique one has for a lot less money. I would say the biggest difference between them is that the Clinique one is unscented and the Maybelline has more of a vanilla scent to it. So if you prefer unscented, then you're not gonna like the Maybelline one as much. But I do have another drugstore option that I wanted to mention too, and that's the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Hydrating Lip Shine. This also is very, very similar, but yet not as sticky. It has hyaluronic acid again as the main ingredient, and I also feel like these leave my lips feeling really smooth and smooths out all the lip lines and just gives a really pretty effect. This is also unscented like the Clinique, and it doesn't have that sticky feel. It's a little bit smoother. So there are definitely some alternatives at the drugstore. If you want a really nice smoothing lip gloss with hyaluronic acid in it, you really don't have to spend $20 on this one when there are amazing formulas at the drugstore. I feel like lip gloss is one of those things that I don't like to spend a lot of money on. I mean, I bought this one because I was curious, but now that I've tried it, I can definitely say with confidence that I prefer my drugstore lip glosses, and they are way less expensive. So again, let me know down in the comments below, do you prefer a stickier lip gloss like this one, or do you like the smoother ones like these over here? I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right guys, so that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up down below. Also, if you're not subscribed and you like dupes and drugstore makeup, saving money on makeup, and new makeup releases, definitely hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me as always. I really appreciate it so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.